Hello everybody, welcome back to the live stream here with MMS 360 Media at the Marine Travel Ground, where today we bring you a hotly anticipated matchup between the Rochford 100 and Canterbury. Obviously over the last couple of weeks we've had plenty of different things going on in rugby. Obviously last week we spoke about, the last time we were on air we spoke about the demise of Wasps and of Worcester. So we won't really go and touch on there too much, but we have seen recently in the news over the last couple of days some heartening information coming through from Steve Diamond, who obviously was the head coach there at Worcester, that he's trying to now kind of in essence bring that club back to life with the help of a few other investors. Fingers crossed that goes fantastically well for that great community club there, Worcester Warriors. So we wish them all the best in terms of what's going on there for them. Other stuff which has been going on in rugby, other than obviously the NCA stuff which we bring to you live here for MMS 360 Media, is that obviously we've got the Women's Rugby World Cup going on. Been fantastic so far. England are playing again tomorrow against Australia, where we've got England who've now won the last 28 tests and are now going into their 29th, fingers crossed, against Australia to do really well. Other news from that today is that New Zealand obviously have beaten Wales today to get through from the quarterfinals into the semi-finals. Quite a convincing victory for those girls. In fact, it was 55-3. But that just shows how tight margins can be to a degree in our sport. It's a fact of if you have the right infrastructure in place and you have the right backing, good things can seriously happen. And that's what we're going to hope about today. We're going to hope that good things happen here for Canterbury today, because obviously we've been now on here for the last three or four home games, and we're yet to see this wonderful win, which we know is in every one of these players out there for Canterbury. Speaking to Matt Corker, the head coach, during the week, again, we were still talking about the fact, obviously, the defensive line is very good in our defensive set, but the problem is that we cannot defend for 40, 50, 60 minutes without all of a sudden there being slight chinks in the armour. So let's hope there won't be any chinks in the armour today. In terms of the team sheets, happy to go through them for you now. So the team sheets for today with Canterbury, we'll start with Canterbury. At number 1 at loosehead is Billy Young. Hooker, number 2, Nathan Morris. Danny Herriot playing at 3. You have Dave Irvine and Jamie Stevens, the captain in the what we call the engine room in the scrum. We then have Harry Andrews and Cameron Murray, 2 young lads playing in the back row alongside Tyler Brick Oliver. Now obviously we've spoken about Brick Oliver, and I'm pretty sure we had a player profile on him a couple of weeks back. So hopefully there'll be some other great stuff from him today. Ben Cooper is still in at scrum half, and Frank Reynolds is still playing at fly half also. We've got a nice young Will Calder on the left wing, with Tom Best and Will Waddington in the centre to make up their partnership. Now that's something which has been working quite well so far this season, that centre partnership. They've continued to keep faith in both those boys, and what's really great for me is you have the old head in terms of Tom Best, and hopefully he won't be upset about me calling him the older head, but also you then got Will Waddington just alongside him. Now Will's been really good at being on the shoulder of in terms of being on the shoulder of the player who's running in the ball, so his support play is fantastic, and that's when I feel that if we can keep that kind of momentum going in the game and get players such as Will on the shoulder of the ball carrier for those little offloads, we can make some serious yards and, fingers crossed, put up some decent points. On the right wing we've got Frank Morgan, and unfortunately for us this week is that Giles Hilton is not Giles Hilton, sorry, that's our chairman. We've got the other Hilts there, and he's going to be actually playing for us, and he's been playing really well so far this season. However, he's off at the present time with concussion. And then we also have then Ross Howard, young Ross Howard, who's been at fullback. He's done fantastically well since coming on, and let's hope he continues to gain lots of experience in this league and continues to progress. In terms of the Rochford 100, well, can't tell you too much about their players, but I can tell you their names. Number 1 is Joe Moran, number 2 is Rob Gardner, number 22, who's playing at tight head, is Aston Bevans Royston, that's their captain. We then have Ben Thomas and Jake Collins in the second row, with Chris Shields, David Rafai and Nabugi at number 8. Then we have number 9, Ricky Gould, and number 10, Torrin Henwood. We've got Mark Ikfia on the left wing. We then have the centre partnerships of Manny Mazuzu and Damien Brambley, and then we will follow it up with Kyle Johnson on the right wing and Chris Dudman as fullback. Well, what do we know about Rochford 100? Well, we know that they came up. They've been coming up through the years steadily. This is a club which has only been founded in 1962, and it was founded as a brainchild between a gentleman called John Roden and Ernie Mills. Now, they've done extremely well since 1962. It's the fact that they have 4 men's teams running. They have a ladies team. They also have their minis and juniors set up, along with an academy team. So in actual fact, they've done fantastically well to try and build rugby in Essex, because they're just literally above Southend. So for us, great to have them down here. Second time I believe that they've been down in the last couple of years. What can we expect from them? Well, so far this season they've done exceedingly well. Away from they've won 3 games so far with 4 defeats. Their last defeat came last week against Barnes away from home. Now their head coach stated, the head coach is Danny Clare by the way, he stated that it wasn't a thriller and it was a bit of a drab affair. Now, what does that tell us about the game? Well, it doesn't tell us too much about what we can expect from them guys. What we can expect though is that they do score points. So far this season they've racked up over 150 points, and in terms of what they've against is 254. So it sounds almost like it's almost like a like-for-like situation with Canterbury. It's the fact that both teams can win games, they can score plenty of points, but on the flip side, obviously they are still letting points in as well. What can I tell you about the ground today? Well, we've got lovely sunshine here today. Fantastic game, fantastic weather for rugby. Slight breeze coming from the top of the hill where I am, going down into the far corner. It's going to be interesting to see how our slope plays. Now, obviously, me and a few others, Limmers in particular, we've been chatting about it on air before, that you know the slope really normally gives you a 10-point swing each half. Be interesting to see if that works again today. What I would like to see though from Canterbury this time is if we do have the slope in the first half, to really push on from those 10 points at the beginning of the second. That's where we've seemed to have come undone a bit so far this season. Finally, what I need to tell you about, well, today obviously we always have wonderful sponsors down here at our club here. Just looking around here at the boards, we've got so many local businesses who actually want to put money into the local club here. There's Q Electrical, for example, Harrogate, Rick and Kay, TDM and Jewsons, for example. Plenty of other people, to name a few. But our match sponsors today is Barrett's, which is they've been down here at the club for many years. Fantastic sponsors of ours, along with the other 2 who are actually our ball sponsors this today, which is the Abbott Construction and obviously Marine Travel. Obviously this is the Marine Travel ground, so we're always thankful for them being sponsors for our club. So that's all I can really tell you so far before the game kicks off. We will have at half-time our usual player profiles. Well, we've picked out two player profiles this week. 2 of the younger boys as well, ones who've actually been in essence quite shining stars so far for us this season in terms of our scrum half, and also one of our back row players who for me has been one of our pick players of the year so far. So I'm just going to leave it there for the moment whilst we get ready for the half. Players are still out on the pitch, and I will certainly speak to you again in a couple of moments. Here we are, guys. Players are coming out now here. Rochford are in the all black kit, and the Canterbury are in our usual hoops. Looks like we have got the slope in our favour for the first half. So let's see how that goes. Ideally, what I'd like to see for us is a really nice, decent kick-off here. Maybe one which we can contest to start off with, and see if we can get our hands on the ball and start playing early. Obviously, last time around here when we were playing down the slope, we started off extremely well. It's our second half performance, which didn't quite match up to the first half. So fingers crossed here, we'll have a much different result from the game against Dorking. Frankie Reynolds has got the ball in his hand. Looks like he's going for a little cheeky reverse start. Going to be just playing with the minds of the Rochford to start off with. Here we go. Come on the Foxes. Here we go. Yeah, that's a nice, decent start there from Frank. He'd be happy with that. Slightly deeper than he probably would want. Picked up by the number 6 there for Rochford, the Chris Shields. Big chap as well, taking the ball up into taking the ball up a couple of yards. Ball's nice and secure. Looks like Rochford are going to try and play out straight away. Look for a nice clearance kick. Hopefully only no further than halfway. Now, has he reached the distance? He has. Yet just nearly halfway. Line out to Canterbury to come. For me, being an old amateur prop, and now forward, we kind of always want to get these first set pieces out of the way really early doors, so you can feel comfortable and you're in the groove. Great start there from Canterbury from the line out. Slight mix up in midfield though, which now puts us a bit on the back step here. But young Ross Howard has sorted out and secured the ball. Ball's coming into Brick there. Fairly decent quick ball through the start there, to be honest with you. Could be called for a high tackle there. The referee hasn't called it there, but he secured the ball. We still go again into Frank Reynolds. He's going for a little bit of a rangefinder. He's just flipped it over the left winger's head. Let's hope the bounce is positive for us. Not the world's worst start, to be honest with you. So with their left winger there, the gentleman called Mark Ikfia. He's obviously touched the ball down there, so obviously we now get the 22 dropout now. So let's hope this goes well for us. As I've spoken to you before about me and Limmers have been on air, this is one of my favourite parts of the game, to be honest with you. I really do feel that this really does put the ascendancy on the team who's going to be receiving the ball. You have to get your ball up in a decent line, and if it doesn't work for you at all. Frank Reynolds has collected it. Lovely pass inside there to Ben Cooper. Has been absolutely munched by their back row man David Raffea. Still Canterbury retaining the ball. Lots of ball early. Just sent out the back line here. Lovely pop inside there to Will Woodington from Frank Reynolds. Ball still secure. What I've noticed so far is that the Rochford 100 haven't actually really overloaded the breakdown so far. They're happy to set themselves out, get their back defensive line back into position. Still the ball with Canterbury. Plenty of phases, good hands so far. Ball's into Tommy Best, trying to find those hard yards. He almost likes to go into the tackle rather than evading it. He's a big, abrasive player. It's a great ball inside to Tyler. Out to Jamie Stevens with a big handoff. Canterbury on the ascendancy here. Quick ball could do it. Pass has just gone backwards, unfortunately. We've just been bundled into touch there. Good first foray there into the Rochford half by Canterbury. Plenty of phases going through. Hands, generally speaking, have been okay, other than just that very last pass. Just that little breaking play. It looks like one of the Rochford 100 players is down on his back. Really good start so far by Canterbury. I think that generally speaking, I think all the coaches will be very happy with what's gone on so far. Obviously, just at the end there, it's gone a little bit awry with just those final passes. But there's a huge amount of positives to be taken from that first 3 or 4 minutes so far. Hopefully the Rochester player hasn't got too serious an injury and he'll be back up in a moment. Whilst the player's down, I just want to give another shout out to our sponsors today. Again, it's Barrett's of Canterbury's our match sponsor, and our ball sponsors today are Abbott Construction and Marine Travel. And remember guys, it's still brought to you live streaming through MMS 360 Media. If you are watching us, try and make sure you copy that link, put it into your favourites bar, make sure you join us here in a couple more weeks time for the next home game. Looks like it's an early influence changed, I'm afraid there. Just as our announcers just said there here, Mark Igfia has come off and Ewan Richmond has come on in place of him. I'm pretty sure he would have been hoping for more than 3 minutes of the game today. Fingers crossed it's nothing too serious and he'll be back out on the pitch next week for them. Line out ball to Rochester, they've gone for a middle ball there. Canterbury got a good early shove on there. Doesn't seem to be going anywhere, so they've had to kick it. Roughly halfway there, Will Calder has collected it. He's done extremely well under some pressure. And Ben Cooper there is there to help out as well. Making a few yards. Ball secure. Nice ball out the back there from Frank Reynolds to Frankie Morgan. He's gone really wide and deep to Tommy Best, who was out on the wing. He's made the change up, gone to kick. Hopefully it won't be going too long. There'll be a decent ball for Canterbury. It's another touchback there. So again, another 22 dropout for Canterbury. Kind of like the thought process of, in essence, trying to kind of pen a team in down the hill. It's almost clever rugby. It's about like playing the percentages, as they would say, perhaps when you play golf. You know, you just sometimes don't go for too much. Just try and keep on the fairway. And he's done extremely well for there. It looks like as they've gone to play quickly, they've knocked on. So it's actually ended up being a Canterbury ball here. First scrum of the game. It's always my favourite part of the game. Limmer's also would no doubt be now telling me stuff like, so Clemmy, what on earth are they doing at the scrum time?
But just not a goal line.
Well, to be honest with you, if I can be honest as best I can, you're going to have both front rows trying to cheat. As simple as that, really. They're not going to be trying to drive straight. They are going to be trying to bore in. They're going to try and gain any small advantage they possibly can against their opponent. And that's what's so great about playing in the front row. That's why I enjoyed it for quite a few years. Looks like just a little bit of a drinks break as well at the moment. As I said, cracking day out here today. Sun's beating down, a little bit of a wind. You'd almost be kind of questioning as to whether it was the end of October or actually the beginning of April. So Canterbury put in here at the scrum. Ben Cooper with the ball. Good initial shove by Canterbury. Ball secure at the back. Tyler has gone for a quick tap. It's been knocked away by Rochford. It will be, it should well be a, yeah, there we are. There's the advantage penalty back there to Canterbury, back from where the scrum was. It's a quick tap and then knocked on by Canterbury. Those are the kind of scenarios where you kind of would be probably quite frustrated as a head coach. You'll be looking at this kind of this opportunity and saying, look, boys, calm down, don't take it quick, get ourselves set. You know, fine to take a quick one, but then that pass has got to be good. That was right on his feet, hence the knock on, and now it's Rochford's ball. Obviously, ideally, Rochford will want to be getting a nice secure ball here from the scrum, and then be looking for the exit. Ball going in now. Another decent scrum from Canterbury, holding firm. It's a lovely pass out there from their number 8 to the number 13, Damien Brambley. He's made some very decent yards. Canterbury slowing the ball down brilliantly at the breakdown. Danny Herriot, being the little nose that he is, slowing it down, putting them under pressure. It's good stuff. The clearance kick has nearly got them up to halfway, in between halfway and the 5 metre. Canterbury ball here. Again, the wind's just slightly picking up. It just held that clearance kick up there a bit for them. I think Rochester would have been looking for a little bit further than that. Ball to Jamie Stevens into the middle. Out wide now to Ben Cooper, into the midfield, Frank Reynolds. Will Calder has come off the left wing to help out. Ball into Frankie Morgan. They've chopped the tree down really quickly as Rochester, and they're setting their line really well. Cameron Murray taking that up. Still fairly quick ball for Canterbury, which is good. Frankie Reynolds has gone in there to Billy Young. Ben Cooper out wide again into the midfield. Will Wellington looking for space. Will Calder dancing around a bit there. Unfortunately knocked the ball on, but we're going to be going back for a penalty here from the referee. Looks like he's calling offside. So penalty to Canterbury, middle of the park here, around about just outside the 22 of Rochester. This is where I would probably look to go for the posts. Oh, they have as well. Sometimes it's, even though you're on the ascendancy, it may well be worthwhile just to get points on the board, start building a score. I always like to kind of have that thought process. If the penalty is there and you can kick it, go for it. Yes, of course. Sometimes, you know, if you roll the dice, you could end up with an extra 4 points out of it from the try and obviously the conversion. But for me, I like to build a score. It then just puts the opponents under pressure. If you keep getting near that 22, keep picking off those penalties, keep building a score, puts them under pressure. They will start to then make silly mistakes, and that's when the opportunity is for you to then really get a real stranglehold on the game. Nice penalty there by Frank Reynolds, settling himself there nicely.
Canterbury by Frank Reynolds. Takes him to the 3-0.
Good first 8 to 10 minutes for Canterbury so far. I'll be very happy with the way in which they've gone about their business so far today. It's been, generally speaking, a really quick ball as well at the breakdown, which is a huge benefit. It certainly does give you the ability to kind of get on the front foot as you're playing. Rochford now with the kick-off. That's a cracking ball there. Originally bounced out of Jamie Stevens' hands into Billy Young. Looks like it's now been taken. Wow. I would say it's kind of a little bit harsh actually there from the referee. From my view of it there, it looked like to me that Billy Young was holding on to the ball, and I actually felt that the Rochford player came in absolutely fine, got his hands on the ball. Referees called it slightly different, and thankfully obviously for Canterbury he certainly has. Frank Reynolds now with the clearance. He should be looking at least halfway ideally with this one. Yeah, decent exit there into the Rochford half. Frank Reynolds is just setting the players up at the moment. We've now got Brick Oliver in the midfield, so you'll be looking at him being probably a target runner. And here it is from Ben into Brick. Referee's just called the pass forward there, just slightly forward. Scrum down, ball for Rochester. Don't think there could have been much in it. It looked fairly flat to me, but I think we've got to kind of praise the industry and the endeavour there from Canterbury. The idea, the thought process to actually play straight off that back throw to the line out, quick ball down to Ben Cooper, and then putting the ball into Big Brick Oliver. Secure ball from Rochester. That's their scrum half. Oh, shanked it straight out into play. So obviously it's going to be now a line out to Canterbury, back where he kicked it from. He will not be happy with that. Or as Graham Taylor would say in terms of football, do I not like that? Ball picked off the nose of the Rochester player by Jamie Stevens. Back out now to Tom Best, making hard yards as always. Slightly slower ball here. Into Brick Oliver again. Getting you 1 or 2 yards forward. Out the back there to Harry Andrews into Will Waddington. Contested this time by Rochester at the breakdown. Nearly had it. Danny Herriot to Frank, down to Brick. Great step there by young Ross Howard. Ball out to Cameron Murray. Nice and secure there. Very quick ball again. Come on, Ben, let's spin it out. Jamie Stevens inside there. Ben again with the ball at the base. Looking to kick here. Frank Reynolds has kicked. He's gone up. No one really to contest. Rochester player certainly didn't call the mark and he's now booted it straight back down around about halfway. Watch that bounce. The bounce makes it anybody's. A slight knock on from Ben Cooper, but into Rochester's hands. Rochester now with the ball at halfway. Hard yards by their number 10, Torrin Henwood. Lovely inside pop there by Rochester. Big hit though there by Dave Irvine. And I'm not being funny, that's been like being chopped down, you know, trying to chop down a redwood. That is fantastic stuff by Ben Irvine. They've gone out wide, they have found space on the deep. It's a fantastic finishing tackle there by, looked like it was Ross Howard there. Rochester still with the ball, making some seriously hard yards, especially with their player Chris Shields. He's a big lad and he certainly does get you the yards you want. Ball's floated out to the other wing now. They're definitely attacking from left to right, right to left. Wants quick ball here. Rochester sense an opportunity here. Not much on the outside. Touchdown there by Ben Cooper. Can't see what the TJ was calling. There's Canterbury were calling for offside, but it looks like there wasn't there. Jamie Stevens is down at the moment. Stopping play as the physio comes over. The Water Boys are coming on now. That's not the 80s band we're talking about. We're talking about the Water Boys today with Guy Hilton and Frank. Jamie's up. So now you're going to be wanting Frank Reynolds now with the dropout. And really, as I said to you earlier on, don't like him at all. So it's all about the wall. It's all about that defensive wall coming up together as a big line. They want to put them under pressure. Don't make it easy for them. It's gone deep. Kick is halfway, at least halfway, and they've let it bounce. The ball's up, which is nice. He's run into two players, Danny Herriot and Nathan Morris. I mean, there's two people you don't want to run into, and he's got absolutely munched by both of them. Another huge carry by their number 6, Chris Shields. He's probably going to be the main man for them who wants to get that further ball. Lovely little jinking feet from their winger who's come inside here, number 14, which is Cole Johnson. Looks dangerous when he's got ball in hand. Rochford now just spitting it out onto the left-hand side as they come up the hill. Plenty of industry, but they're not really making huge amounts of yards at the moment. Canterbury slowing the ball down at the breakdown. Just the one pass before they're going in to tackle. Slight mistake in the midfield. Definitely was a knock on there. Canterbury ball now. It's decent first D set. I think Corks and Veely and the boys will be very happy with what they've seen so far. It was a very good D set. Whilst we have a very, very quick breaking play, just need to call out one extra thing here. Obviously, we spoke about our match sponsors earlier. I'm actually going to talk about my mum. Now, believe it or not, it is my mother's birthday today. My mum, Susan Clemmy, she is the grand old age. She won't be impressed with me saying this. Grand old age of 82 today. That's 82, Susan Clemmy. Happy birthday, mum. Ball in from the scrum. Canterbury ball going out wide to Tom Best with a little dink over the back. If that pops up nicely, it will be Frankie Morgan's ball, but it's just slightly too deep. Their full-back has done extremely well there to find their right winger. Taking the ball up nicely into the breakdown. Canterbury slowing it down. They're getting penalised. Tyler Oliver coming over there. Penalty here then from Rochester. Should be looking to get this ball inside the 22. It's gone a little bit short, but hopefully they'll be able to secure the ball from the line out and attack the Canterbury line again. So far, every line out has been picked off perfectly by each team, by the throw-in. Jamie Stevens seems to think that it's going to be coming up as a middle ball. It's middle ball. Jamie's got up and he's stolen it. Set themselves well. Ball from Ben Cooper now inside to Cam Murray. Made a couple of extra yards. Ben Cooper again out wide. Frank Reynolds with a little dink over. He seems to have seen space. Frank Morgan, oh, nearly picked off, but there. Jake Collins there for Rochester did extremely well. Reached, jumping up like a salmon to nick the ball there. Rochester attacking now, back down their left wing and inside. Just put into touch. Showing plenty of industry. Rochford seem to have no issue at all with going out wide. Means it's going to make for a great attacking rugby today. Jamie Stevens ball. First one Ben Cooper's lost there as the ball's come back. Frank Reynolds on the front foot again. Cam Murray trying to make yards in the middle, in the midfield. Slower ball here. Ben Cooper's decided to attack back down the right wing. Inside to Will Waddington. Ball is just about secure there by Will Calder. Ball's into Danny Herriott. You know what you're going to get from Danny Herriott. Head down, go forward. Frank Reynolds now going out the backside to Tom Bess. He's been caught in the backfield though there. Rochester with a great counter. They've turned the ball over. They need to move the ball out wide. The chances are there. Cracking tackle from Billy Young there, slowing up their midfielder Damien Brambley. He's looked dangerous, Damien, when he's had the ball. Ball into the inside. Rochford really pushing for it here. Quick ball from the base, going out onto their left wing, trying to find that elusive space there just to make the extra yard. Apologies if you hear any language. We've got the Rochford replacements down here warming up. Unfortunately, at the breakdown, they've just lost the ball there. Canterbury with the turnover. Referee's given a full penalty there, so Canterbury will be able to kind of relieve themselves a little bit defensively. Again, with the wind going downhill, Frank Reynolds should be looking around about halfway. I think halfway or anywhere further than that would be a very, very, very good thing after that. Another very good D set from Canterbury. A little shy of the halfway. But Canterbury relieved the pressure. Rochford looked very, very happy to go out wide and go out quick. There's some very, very dangerous runners. I've been very impressed with the gentleman called Damien Brambley so far. And Torin Henwood, the fly half, he seems to be running the show for them really well. Ball up to Jamie Stevens. No more this time. Ball into Brick Tyler. He's made some good yards coming from in to out. Knocked the ball on, unfortunately, as he goes into the tackle. Rochford ball. Rochford are going to play from here. Out wide they've gone. Damien Brambley again, heavily involved. Stepped inside. Tom Bess was all over him here. Frank Morden's covered it, and so is Frank Reynolds. Cam Murray, the big hit. Ball is slowing down here. Referee's called back for entry from the side at the breakdown. So the last 10 minutes really have been all about Rochford, to be honest with you. And I know I've said Rochester a few times because it's obviously just up the way, so I apologise if I have. But Rochford 100 have looked really, really comfortable with the ball in hand. Since Canterbury getting the penalty and going 3 points up, it's all, generally speaking, been Rochford ball only. The D set's been good. I've no issue with that, but we need to relieve the pressure. So for example, when we had the clearance kick just a moment ago from that line out, we shouldn't be knocking the ball on as we go into the tackle. Obviously, ultimately the ball comes back round to us again, with Rochford then just pushing us further back. You need to relieve the pressure. That's part of the problem that I think we may have found so far this season with Canterbury, is that the moment we do try to relieve pressure, they try to play perhaps a little bit too much. Perhaps sometimes you just need to slow it all down a little bit further and go again and just start picking up the phases. Rochford penalty here, full penalty. Their fly half will be looking for around about near as close as he can to the 5 yard, but he's only just made 22. Seems to have shanked it there a little bit. I think he'd be a little bit upset with himself for that one. Rochford ball here. Now last throw in, Jamie Evans got up in front of his opponent and stole the ball. Let's see if he can do that again. They slightly shortened the line out. Going for a back ball. Harry Andrews came up, couldn't quite reach it. The set's not too bad. Rochford has set themselves well. Harry Andrews has got a great situation. He's nearly on the ball. Ball is turning. Billy Young's got to join it. He may well be on the ball. I can see the ball at the back there. Players down. Canterbury can come over that. Really slow ball here for Rochford. Inside midfield with Damien Bagley. Then released their right winger who's come all the way into midfield to try and help out. Canterbury slowing the ball down again. Rochford going back slightly here. It's a bit of a negative gain for them so far. Still nice hands from the Rochford 100. That's a very close to a net clear out. Who's gone in there? Nathan Morris there with a fantastic effort there on the deck there to get the turnover. Actually, I will say my apologies there. It was Billy Young, not Nathan. Frank Reynolds with the clearance from the penalty over halfway. Canterbury ball. Now let's see if Canterbury can now start to apply the pressure back down the Rochford 100. Decent crowd here again at the Marine Travel. I'm sure they'll be wanting a try here from Canterbury. Wind's just picking up, could make the line out slightly tricky. Ball's gone in at the front to Dave Irvine. I don't think Rochford were expecting that, as every ball so far has gone to Jamie Stevens. Now they've got a big shove on here. A nice rolling maul so far. Still yards being made, still ball at the back. Ben Cooper helping marshal it, he's taken the ball off now. Inside to Will Wellington. Ball slightly slower now. Frank Reynolds had to come in, there's nothing else in front of him. He's done exceedingly well. He's made around about 10 off, maybe 15 yards there on that carry. Good stuff. Slow ball coming out the back here. Jamie Stevens and Dave Irvine there. Danny Herriot inside to Brick Tyler. He's made a fantastic run. Curled round, dotted it down underneath the sticks. Good stuff, Brick. Well done. Got to be happy with that response there. It's the first time that Canterbury have got themselves back inside the Rochford 100 half. They've got to be extremely happy with that. Tyler runs a very good line there. Is well supported there by Danny Herriot. Good first 20 odd minutes of the game here for Canterbury. I'm sure the Corks and the message from the Water Boys will be to literally just, guys, keep going through the phases, build a score. Frank Reynolds with the conversion, nice and simple one straight down the middle. It's 10 points Canterbury, 0 to Rochford 100 so far.
And the opening try of the afternoon scored by Canterbury number 8, Tyler Oliver, converted by Frank Reynolds. And it takes them into Canterbury lead by 10 points to 0.
Rochford with the restart here. It's a high hanging one. Tyler with the collect. Nice safe hands there. Down. Ball recycled down to the back here. Ben Cooper out Frank Reynolds. Clearance kick, this one straight down the middle. There was a bounce on it there though. A fairly decent bit of high level bit of skill by their number 8 called Nabugi. He's actually plucked it out with his foot to slow it down for their fullback to get the ball on the, get their hands on the ball. But Rochford now looking to attack straight down that left wing of theirs. Penalty called here for a high tackle, I'm afraid. This will give Rochford a little bit further territory. Their fullback kick in here. Left foot straight through the ball. Only made, I'd say, maybe 10 yards max there. Probably could have been looking for a little bit more. So Rochford line out here in between the 22. Well, in between the 22 and the 5 metre. See Rochford still coming up the hill. Wind's beginning to pick up a little bit more, so it might make the second half very tricky for Canterbury when they're coming up the hill. Ball disrupted by Dave Irvine at the front. No call from the referee in terms of, it looked like it had gone forward there, but the referee's kept it there. Canterbury have got the ball. Clearing out nicely there. Frank Reynolds again. That lovely little dink through. If the bounce is good, it's perfect. Tommy Best with the ball, looking inside. There was nobody there, unfortunately. Will Wellington just went onto the opposite shoulder. Great thought process by Frank Reynolds. Obviously, has found that there's an opportunity to attack just behind that line. Cam Murray, ball in hand. Out wide now to Danny Herriot. He's fed out wide to Will Calder, who he found on the wing there. Nathan Morris. Still Canterbury ball going through the phases. I think the coaches this week have probably been saying to them, look boys, don't force anything. Play heads up rugby when you can, but don't force it. Frank Reynolds looking for something inside here. Tommy Best going back towards the forward line. The snaffle down in the back line. There's a penalty on there for not rowing away, so it's Canterbury ball. No doubt they'll be looking for going as close as they can to the corner, going for a pick and drive. Fingers crossed, it worked well. Frank Mills with a decent touch finder there, putting Rochford right under pressure. Line out to come. They've gone for a deep ball. There's an overthrow. Rochford now with the ball at the back. So number 6 again rambling the ball up. He's made maybe about 15-20 yards where he was snaffled down. Real opportunity wasted there from Canterbury. Still slow ball to break down by Canterbury. Rochford looking to play from deep. Nice big hit there from Danny Herriot. Again, Rochford still looking to play. Ball's got a bit scrappy there. The ball was slowed down by Canterbury there. There was a chance. Danny Herriot is still lying down after his tackle there. He's moving, so he's okay, I believe. Little kick through. There wasn't much else on, so the ball's now with Ross Howard. He's now trying to put the Rochford back under pressure. Their right winger's called for the mark. Sorry, their fullback. Fullback is Chris Dudman for Rochford today. It's called for the mark. So Danny Herriot's down, just receiving a little bit of attention, shall we say? So we're nearly half an hour into the first half. I'd say that the Canterbury coaches have got to be very happy with the way in which they've gone about the game today so far. It's been a little bit more of a measured approach from Canterbury, a little less trying to play off the hoof. Don't get me wrong, Frank Reynolds has been very astute so far, Lovely couple of little chip kicks over the on-rushing defensive line from Rochford, which has given us some decent pressure and a little bit of decent possession in their half. I think that all they need to do now is just keep building through the phases and look to play when it's on. But then that's the tough part, and I remember speaking to Corks over a couple of weeks ago now, and one of the toughest things is it's one of those things which you almost can't actually coach. It's one of those things that certain players and certain people just have that ability in them to be actually a lot calmer under pressure and then not try and force something. Obviously they try and play to patterns like all rugby clubs do. Each team will try and play to a certain pattern or try and play to their strengths. So you don't necessarily want to stifle the kind of mercurial stuff which can happen out on the pitch, but it's hard to be able to get a player to know when it's right to do that. So Danny Herrick's back up. Rochford have now cleared up to just inside their own half. It's a Canterbury ball at the line out. Billy Young's trotting over there to Nathan Morris to tell him what the option is. It's a shortened line out from Canterbury. Brick Oliver's into the line out, so they won't be looking for his runs at the centre. Up at the back, Harry Andrews. Out to Jamie Stevens. Made some cracking yards. Quick ball out, Danny Herriot. From Danny Herriot, gone to Billy Young, but it's been knocked on there. But there's been a call down here. Try to see the referee's call. He's calling for an offside, so it's Canterbury ball. Jamie Stevens seems to have just taken a little bit of a knock, perhaps. Receiving some attention here. Looks like it's probably his shoulder from what I can see. I mean, so far he's had a cracking game. Rose at the line out, stolen one as well, and taken up some decent ball as well. You always want to try and keep players such as Jamie Stevens on the pitch as long as you possibly can. Jamie Stevens up after having a little bit of attention, a little bit of a shoulder rub. Canterbury ball is for offside, so full penalty. You'll be looking at Frank Reynolds trying to bang the ball down towards the try line. Forwards already in the huddle, trying to kind of decipher as to what they're going to do next. Generally speaking, it's going to be a line out, mate. So you've got three options. This time it looks like they're opting for the full line out. I want to be trying to pick off either Jamie Stevens or Dave Irvine, set up the maul and see if they can roll it over from here. It's a Dave Irvine ball, it's set nicely, no sack, so Canterbury have got the ball at the back and now driving. Ben Cooper just coming up to the back of the maul just to try and help direct them a little bit further. Starting to splinter a bit. Rochford have done particularly well trying to break the maul there from Canterbury. Canterbury still rolling forward. Ben Cooper has the ball. He's firing out to the inside to Will Calder. Canterbury ball still. Ben Cooper. One little pass outside. Ball slowing down here whilst the forwards are getting themselves set. The idea was nice there from Canterbury. Ball came outside to Frank Reynolds. Instead of going naturally over, continuing the play from the left down to the right hand side, he's just done a little pop pass inside. Unfortunately, as he's passed it, it's just been knocked on from the pass there. So it's a Rochford scrum around about, I'd say maybe 2 to 3 metres in front of their try line.
replacement. Dave Irvine coming off and Alex Evans coming on.
As you might have just heard there, Dave Irvine's now coming off and Al Evans is coming on for Canterbury. Didn't seem to be an injury, so it may well just be one of those replacements which are naturally made now by coaches just to give their bigger players just a little bit of a breather for them to then come back on in the second half and finish the game strong. Decent Rochford scrum. We've set the ball up now onto the left-hand side, looking for an exit. Ball's at the back there. Scrum half just getting himself set. Another shank. Not many yards made there at all. I'd say that when they probably go in, the Rochford 100, I think the coaches are going to specifically talk about their kicking. There's been a lot of shanked balls. So lost at the line out there by Canterbury. It was probably telegraphed because obviously when you shorten down the line out and you've only got Jamie Stevens as your jumper, you can know where it's going to go. So the movement needs to be good with the feet to be able to get that space. Watch with a much better exit this time. Ball was stayed in play. Frank Morgan with a fantastic leap and collect there. The ball was swirling all over the place. As I said earlier, the wind's just beginning to pick up a tiny bit here. Jamie Stevens again with some hard yards. Ben Cooper with some quick ball to Frank Reynolds outside now. Ross Howard to Tom Best. Tom Best again, looking to just run over people. And unfortunately, at the breakdown, Rochford have got their hands all over it, and Canterbury have been penalised for holding on. Bit of a soft one to give away there for Canterbury. Game's just beginning to get a little bit bitty in terms of the fact that no one's really building up any big numbers of phases. Again, Rochford clearance kick, hardly making any yards at all here. Don't know if you could hear that there from the background of my mic there. But that was our lovely esteemed chairman Giles Hilton giving out his praise, telling the boys, "Come on, boys, let's get some leadership out there." I think he's beginning to feel that it's just beginning to turn a little bit. That the game's not necessarily just in Canterbury's hands, and each time they get a chance, they do seem to be then making slight errors. I think that's what he's trying to say. Come on, boys, get heads down. Let's get this job done. Short line out from Rochford. Quick ball to the middle. Being collected by their guys, being called to be referees called it for putting a player, tackling a player in the air there. I think that's a pretty harsh call. I think actually the Rochford players called that and have actually duped the referee into that decision. Obviously the replays may well make me look like a complete wally, but from what I could see, that was from my vantage point, that's what I was going to call. Their fullback again with the kick. Minimal yards made again. Rochford line out just outside the 22 now of Canterbury. Rochford ball. There's movement going for the back ball there. Oh, Cam Murray was nearly there with the steal. Rochford ball still coming from the midfield, looking for some of their larger runners to try and take the ball up. Brick Tyler with a decent tackle. Defensive line set fairly well. Nice hit there from Will Waddington on their fullback, Dudman. Chance was there for a counter ruck. Frankie Morgan went for it, was called back from the referee. D-line's good so far for Canterbury, just setting themselves up with guard and dog. So I'm sure they're very worried about what's going on outside. Wow, I don't know if I don't know if the referee can see that, but their number 4 is obviously ramming his head into Danny Herriot's face. I would doubt anything's going to come from it. I had a very good line there, and their scrum half's now trying to say there was a cheap shot gone on there. There's absolutely nothing going on there. Very clever there from their scrum half. Players try and do that, obviously, when they know that one of their players have done something wrong. The idea is then, obviously, try and say something more outlandish to try and get it spun round so their player doesn't get penalised. No such luck there for their scrum half. It's been given as a penalty towards Canterbury, so well done referees, well done officials. And a little conversation with the number 4, who's now mouthing off still. Number 4 there for them is a gentleman called Ben Thomas. He'd be well advised, perhaps, to calm himself down. Cracking stuff there by Danny Herriot. Well done, Danny. Very decent exit there by Frank Reynolds. Getting close to halfway. Let's hope that Canterbury now just pick up the pace a little bit, get this line out, start securing some phases. Al Evans in, as I said, now for Dave Irvine. Ball's going to the front for Jamie Stevens. It's been set nicely. Al Evans with the fake. Inside to Brick Toast. Made another cracking line coming in from right into left. Then a good return pass back out to Will Evans. Now to Danny Herriot in the middle of the park. He's probably now looking for the number 4 just to want to ram-roll over him. Slow ball from Rochford. Al Evans again outside into Will Waddington, finding some space and finding some yards. Quick ball, Jamie Stevens in, taking 2 players out there. Ball secured nicely. Tommy Best doing what he does best. Frank Reynolds is trying to find little gaps, little spaces throughout that Rochford defensive line today. Ball back to Will Calder. It's been called as a slight knock on there. I think the knock on was possibly from Danny Herriot as he tried to pass the ball out to Will Calder. It's unfortunate for him. But some good phases there. Good phase there from Canterbury. Canterbury pushing themselves further forward here, trying to actually try and play some really entertaining rugby. As the half dwindles down, I'm sure the Canterbury would want to try and get some more points on the board here. Obviously all of our images here are being streamed to us by MMS 360 Media. Obviously I don't want to big up Damien and the crew too much in case their heads get too big and then they can't operate their cameras. But to be honest with you, since they've been on board here with Canterbury, we've been seeing some fantastic stuff from them guys. The camera works obviously is fantastic, but more importantly it just gives us another option to try and bring people to actually see what Canterbury Rugby is all about. So well done guys. Scrum down, Rochford ball. So far the scrums have always gone the way of the put-in so far. I wonder if Canterbury can get a decent shove on here and try and disrupt this ball before half time. Ball in. Got a rumble on there. Rochford just taking the ball up back into there, but it's been held up here. Be interesting to see what free calls here, unless the ball's coming out. Rochford just trying to secure the ball here. I'll probably be looking for an exit strategy here in a moment. Canterbury doing well here with their D set, still applying the pressure, slowing the ball down. Some big hits going in there. Al Evans with a decent one a moment ago. Looking for the exit. Just exited there. Referee's called it there for half time there. A fairly happy half, I'd say, from Canterbury to be honest with you. 10 points up to the good. Probably could have done with a little bit more.
Time, score Canterbury 10, Rochford 100-0.
So I think really from half time you're going to be looking at kind of 2 types of coaching here. I don't think for 1 minute that the Rochford coaches are going to be going in and berating their players at all. I mean, 10 points from having to go uphill and being under a fair amount of pressure throughout the half is probably a fairly decent result for them so far. I think they'll be coming back into the second half thinking, hang on a minute, we're going to have the wind, we're going to have the hill as well in our favour, the slope. I think they can probably apply some pressure. I think Canterbury probably left about maybe 5 to 10 points out there, which they probably should have and could have got from that first half performance. I think Corks and the team will probably be going in there saying to them, boys, look, we just need to pick up what we started with. We started extremely well. We're building through the phases. We don't need to force anything. What would be a real frustration for me though here is that in the second half is if Canterbury decided to not continue to try and play expansive rugby at times. There certainly is options available. And I do think that the Rochford line, the Rochford 100 defence line, comes up very, very quickly, which does exploit a gap between themselves and their fullback or their wingers. And I think Frank Reynolds was doing that particularly well in the first half with the chips through. Perhaps try a different type of kick, perhaps with a little grubber, just to try and get them having to turn and be on their own back foot again. I think that might be a benefit for us in the second half. What I want to do though is I just want to pick up actually on what we've been doing throughout our live streams so far at half time. We've been picking up on a couple of player profiles. Now we've gone through such great players so far as like Jamie Stevens, who's been here since a little boy. We've spoken about Nathan Morris as well, but we've got two younger players I want to speak to you about today. One is a gentleman called Ben Cooper. Now affectionately he's known as Coops around here. So he's our scrum half at the present time, with Frank, our other scrum half, being out unfortunately with a dislocated shoulder. We believe that Frank's going to be back hopefully nearing Christmas or maybe just into the new year. But I think so far today Ben Cooper's done extremely well. He's done really well at the breakdown in terms of getting quick ball. Quick ball is absolute gold dust for a rugby team. You want that ball quickly from the back line from the breakdown, because then the defensive line for the opponents haven't got the opportunity to get themselves into the right positions, which exploits space. Now, as we know, rugby is a game about finding space and running through it rather than running into players, and I think with quick ball, which Ben Cooper's been given us, has been fantastic so far. A couple of things I want to mention about Coops. Obviously we know his nickname is Coops. I wonder why that could be. But when he was younger, he was born in the Highlands, and in his school there was only 3 students, and he used to play a game called shinty. I'm going to say it again, just to make sure you didn't think I said something else. The word was shinty. Now, shinty, in essence, from what we've seen, and I would love to say that I have this font of like Wikipedia knowledge in my brain ready for this kind of scenario, which I don't. Shinty, I had to have a little look up, ultimately looks like hockey. Field hockey that is, but you can actually hit the ball whilst it's in the air as well. So a little bit of a mix perhaps between the Gaelic kind of side of things as well in there, but it looks like a pretty decent fun kind of game to be involved in. Probably a little bit too fast paced for my liking, but I think if you're a back you'd have no problems playing that kind of game. The other player we want to pick up on for our player profiles is something that I've probably bigged up perhaps a little bit too much, that people may be starting to think that I'm sponsoring him or something like that. That's certainly not the case, but it's a young lad who we got in this season, a young lad called Cameron Murray. Love the way in which he applies himself on the rugby field. So far I've seen no silliness from him, but what I have seen is plenty of big tackles, plenty of go forward ball from him, and more importantly generally his engine around the park's been fantastic. Now Cameron Murray, for some reason his nickname is your big softy. Could be a little bit of a Scottish twang on there, which I'm not going to go and try and do because I make myself look like a fool. But Cameron Murray, talking about making himself look like a fool, when he was younger he decided to try and jump over some barbed wire and got his leg stuck. Well done, Cam. Good stuff, mate. Lucky enough for us, wasn't any long-term injuries, because he's now playing out here for us, and he's had a great first half. So in terms of what we're looking at here in terms of the rugby, so as you said, we're 10 points up, we're happy with that so far. I think it's going to be a very interesting second half of the game. I'm not entirely sure as to how Corks will play it and the boys. Obviously when we were playing against Dorking here last time round, when we were playing up the hill in the second half, we kind of failed to really get ourselves out of our half. We failed to get rid of any of the pressure that we were under. So I'm hoping in this half coming up that we continue to go through the phases and try and pick and choose the right times to try and put the exit ball through. There are obviously obviously the problem is with our slope, as we said, we've already got that 10-point, the 10-point swing is what we tend to normally see from here. The issue is that obviously we don't think it's that big, but when you come up and you're actually watching it live from where I am in particular, the slope is pretty darn tough, and you'll find that most games are kind of won here in the second half at Canterbury rather than the first. And we can look through that from this season if we think about the Tonbridge game. Tonbridge Juddians came out in the second half and blew Canterbury away. We look at the Dorking game, obviously went down to the wire, the Dorking game, but again there's a big second half performance from Dorking. The only game we can certainly say which was slightly different here at home was against Blackheath. Now Blackheath have pumped a fair amount of money back into their squad this year, and they are looking likely to be the ones who are going to go up straight away. They have had a defeat recently and only played 6 games rather than 7, but they were the only team really, in my opinion, who have come out to the Marine Travel Ground here and actually put in a good 80-minute shift. So let's see how that goes in the second half. And fingers crossed there won't be too many changes, and I'm hoping for another big half from Canterbury. Here we go, guys, back here for the second half of Canterbury versus the Rochford 100. Canterbury obviously going to be going up the hill now for the second half. 10 points to the good so far. Let's hope for more entertaining rugby from Canterbury in this second half. I'm trying to push them further forward for the to get this first elusive home win. Doesn't look like there's been many changes from what I can see from the players coming out here. We've got Aaron Cooper, looks like he may well have come on here for Danny Herriot. Hopefully there's nothing too wrong with Danny. Probably just needs a little bit of a break. Referee with a nice strong whistle. Rochford to get us started here in the second half. Decent long down ball here. Frank Reynolds gone for a clearance straight away. Ball's just held up in the wind there and swirling a little bit. Big knock on right from the word go from their number 6. So first scrum of the half coming up. Canterbury's put in. Going to be interesting to see how the scrum changes, obviously, because we have a change at the front row with Aaron Cooper coming in for Danny Herriot. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Will Calder set himself just behind the scrum here. Looks like there is a particular play going on here. Rochford with a really good first scrum there in the second half. Bouncing ball out from the back there from Ben Cooper to Tommy Best. Tommy Best with the ball down. Looks like it's been classed as holding on. Harsh call really, to be honest, because he wasn't even able to actually get to the deck. The Rochford player was actually playing the player, not the ball, in my opinion. There, referee's been duped into one there by Rochford. Not a huge clearance again there from their number 15, Dudman. Only just got them just a little bit, about 5 yards, maybe 6 yards inside the Canterbury half. Slow walk up by Rochford, 100 into the line out. Canterbury have been waiting for a little while. Looks like it may well be just a simple quick. Lots of movement here to go for a front ball here from Rochford. Lots of movement to try and get themselves set there. Snaffled down, looks like referee's giving a penalty that. They've gone to the number 6 for the big ball carrier, number 6, Chris Shields. Now they're sniping around the left hand wing. Nothing really coming there from Rochford, so they're going back now for the penalty. Slightly better there from Dudman there in terms of getting his side further forward there. Again, it's going to be another line out now to Rochford. This is the one concern that I did have. I spoke about it at half time. So I don't want Canterbury now to be going into their shell thinking about having to try and come up the hill. They don't want to be getting stuck into that thought process of we've just got to hold on to this 10 points. They need to be pushing this further forward. So they want to try and now disrupt this line out as best they can. Get their hands on the ball. Start playing some faces and get out of their half. Gone for a back ball there for Rochford. Ball's looked like it'd been knock on there. Yeah, the referee has eventually called it. So good disruption at the line out from Canterbury. Can they now, from this scrum, start to get their hands on the ball, build some phases?
Two replacements on, Red Newbury and Paul Bradley.
Canterbury just changing their setup now. Frank Reynolds has now just gone round to the left wing. As Ben Cooper's gone to put the ball in there at the scrum there, the ball's literally bounced straight back out. So obviously the strike wasn't quite right. Referees let them have a reset, which is great for Canterbury. Again, it's just going to be slightly trickier here in terms of what we're going to be looking at. In terms of how it's all been set here, you've got obviously the scrum going on here, but the difference is obviously when you take a player like Danny Herriot off and you're bringing Aaron Cooper on, it does just change the dynamic. What I'm saying is I'm not saying that one is stronger than the other. It just changes the dynamic because Danny Herriot's obviously got used to the scrum right from the word go at the beginning of the game. So he's already in that kind of mode. He already knows how he's going to be attacking the loose head. So it makes it very, very different at scrum time. Hopefully Aaron Cooper will hit the ground running. Penalty here from the breakdown. Coming in at the side from the referee's call. You want Frank Reynolds now to be hitting us up to around about halfway. Let's try and get our hands on the ball, try and play some rugby now, Canterbury. That's a fairly decent exit there from Frank Reynolds. Maybe about 5 yards short than what he would personally like, I think. But now it's important from Canterbury to get their hands on this ball, win this line out, start building some phases. You don't want to be having too much pressure in your half throughout this second half. Up he's gone. Kicked across by Darren Rice, unorthodox, but you know what, it's worked so far. High hanging up ball from Frank Morgan, who's found halfway. Kick across field there. Looked like to me to a degree to be a kick to nothing, but here's the thing, sometimes when you're watching the play from this angle you can't necessarily see exactly what's in front of the player coming up. What actually looked like to me is that there wasn't another option available for Frank Morgan, so he's going to have to try and do something unorthodox. Certainly wasn't orthodox to kick across. Lucky enough it was still just in play before it bounced out. Rochford throwing at the line out halfway. Looks like they're just making a slight change into who they're bringing into this line out. The big ball carrying Chris Shields has now come into the line out for them. Quick ball at the front, bounce down there. Scrum half dealt with it quite well considering the ball wasn't great to him. Canterbury now want to be slowing this ball down, not allowing anything quick to come from it. Some good hits there. Combination there of Nathan Morris and Will Evans. They've gone really wide outside, giving it to their number 20, who's got some absolute clean pair of heels. Ewan Richmond has now put the ball inside to Damien Brambley, who for me has probably been their player of the half. Looks like Canterbury have turned it over there though at the breakdown. Fantastic effort by Canterbury. Great scramble defence there. Building up phases, looking for an exit. The exit is on. Frank Reynolds, big kick, just kick it out. Fantastic nudge there from Frank Reynolds. Got himself up past the nearly up to the 5 metre line. Excellent effort. The line out for Rochford so far in the second half is showing a lot more movement, so it's a lot less static. They're fronting a lot of movement in terms of their jumpers going from the front to the back, movements in and out. Really trying to stop Canterbury from actually getting a decent jump on them. Ball's been lost there by their scrum half there. Knocked on by them, then knocked on by us. Canterbury put in at the scrum here. It's been a slightly broken up half, should we say. Neither team has really kind of put their stamp on this half so far. Just the phone, the pitch here. You can't quite see it from here, but the left winger for Rochford is now shoved up even further. There's a big space there. Huge effort here at scrum, by the way. Sorry, but from Rochford, they've actually turned the scrum there. So Canterbury have been lucky there to be able to get another put in here. Could easily have been a penalty against Canterbury there. Don't know if you heard that nice big shout, but that's from our chairman, Giles Hilton, again with a big come on Canterbury. Scrum down. Looks like occasionally that Rochford have just got a little bit of an earlier nudge on Canterbury. That's much better, much more secure there at the back of the scrum there. Will Calder trying to find some space. He's got himself snaffled and dragged into touch there. But lucky enough for Canterbury, he's been called for a high tackle. Didn't see much in that there for me. I think Canterbury may well have got quite lucky there. Again, easy exit now, ideally from out of your own half. So Frank Reynolds probably just looking for another 10 yards up the pitch. Nathan Morris coming over with the ball for the throw-in. Quick ball, middle ball for Jamie Stevens. Ball down to Ben Cooper. Cooper into Frank Reynolds. Looking for those hard runners in the midfield. Tommy Best taking the ball up again. Cracking hard yards from Tommy Best there. Canterbury ball there. Slow ball. Coming right for Ross Howard into big Frank Morgan. Hasn't really had any space really yet to get his legs pumping so far today. They've done very well to snaffle that option. Frank Reynolds going in to the tackle. He's being held there by the number 9. Being told to release him. Nothing coming there. Cam Murray with a nice carry. Elliot Lusher's come on, also I've noticed here. Good pick up there from Will Calder. There's nothing on. Good couple of hands off by Will there. Went to give the ball out there. Bounced off Ben Cooper's chest. Knock on. It's now Rochford ball. Rochford players spinning, spanning here, there and everywhere. Almost like Kylie Minogue spinning around there, but not in the gold shorts. Shame about that. Knock on. Given. Scrum time. Rochford's put in. Rochford's put in at the scrum. Pick up by their number 24 there for Rochford, Paul Bradley. Big chap as well, big ball carrying number 8. Looking for the exit here. Not found touch though. Will Calder with a cracking catch over his shoulder. Finding Ross Howard. Ross is calling them up. Finding some space. He's going for himself. Could be isolated here unless the clear out's good. Will Calder's coming fantastically well to do this job. Elliot Lusher with the ball out to Jamie Stevens. A lovely little pop inside to Harry Andrews. Just can't quite get his legs away. Fantastic snaffle by the 12, Manny Mazuzu for Rochford. Now it's on to our number 12, Tom Best, with a nice hard carry into the hard yards, into the middle of the park. It's been some lovely quick ball here from Canterbury. Elliot Lusher now just setting the ball up. Frank Reynolds into Harry Andrews again. Just need to slow it all down at times. Try not to play something which isn't there perhaps. Ball is nice and secure. And I start to pick again. Brick with some hard yards. Got through the first tackle there. Frank Reynolds looking for something here which may or may not be on. Wind is swirling. It's not making it easy in any way, shape or form. Referee's called for a knock on there. Not going to have a go at the referee because they see so much more than anyone else. But let's put this on the side. I'm going to whisper that one. I don't know what he called there. Didn't see a knock on. Just a slight break in play here. Obviously it's been a little bit kind of razzle-dazzle here for the last couple of minutes in terms of the ball going left, right, up and down. And now just taking a little bit of water on board. So it's an excellent response now from Canterbury from the first 10 minutes of the second half of it just been a lot of Rochester ball, a lot of Rochester territory. Great response, as I said. Really like the way in which we're trying to go about our business today, trying to pick the right times when to try and break through their defensive line and when not to. So far so good in this second half. What I would like to see is still a little bit of that almost that kind of flair play, but it's about making sure you're picking those opportunities at the right time to actually do it. That's part of the biggest problem I feel that we have, and I did speak about it at half time. It's having players on the pitch who know when to go or when not to go. So let's just hope something great comes from this scrum. The scrum is going to be Rochford ball, but I think now that both are props in terms of Elliot and Aaron have got themselves set into this game now, I expect a little bit more from them at scrum time. Rochford just splitting themselves up here with two of their backs on the right hand side, with 4 on the inner. Decent ball from the back. It's just a simple exit. The ball's coming straight down Frank Morgan's throat. The problem is the wind has picked up and the sun's in his eyes. He's now gone for the up and under himself. It's a cracking kick. He's got a chance to collect that. Nothing played. What's the referee going to call here? Calling for their knock-on. So just from that passage of play, there's a huge advantage here from Canterbury. One, roughly the ball's in exactly the same place where it was before, but it was actually from the scrum, which wasn't their scrum at all. They had the clearance kick, banged it down around about 40 yards. Frank Morgan's charged up about 20, kicked it up, and then caused them to then make the mistake. So it's a huge little swing here for Canterbury. Let's hope something good can come from it. Ball in from Canterbury. Scrum's looking pretty secure. Slight turn. Referee's just about to call something. What's he calling here? For a reset, perhaps? Seems to think that just where they were scrumming down there, they've just loosened up the pitch. Canterbury put in at the scrum here. Let's get themselves set. Ball's in really quick. Going backwards though at the rate of knots. Secured at the back by Ben. No, nicked from their scrum half. Canterbury now on the back foot. Frank Reynolds went to go down and to actually play the ball, but it looks like the referee's called that they were called Rochester for actually playing the ball on the deck. Even though it was a knock on. Couldn't see his arm raised there, unfortunately. So the game's just beginning to get a little bit scrappy. Just think ideally Canterbury just needs to get a bit of a stranglehold on this, grab the ball back a bit more, start building the phases. Canterbury full penalty here. Frank Reynolds are going to be looking for at least 15 yards, I'd say, on this one. That's a decent nudge there from Frank Reynolds. To be honest, he's had a cracking game today. Frank Reynolds has been really impressed with him. What I've noticed is that he's just been slightly, I think he's just been slightly braver in terms of where he's been set. He's been about a yard further up the pitch, a little bit flatter. So when the ball's coming to him, yes, he's close to the defensive line, but then he can make those decisions to either play past the left, past the right, or go himself, which then which means that the defensive line haven't got the ability to set for what else is coming their way. So I've really liked the way in which he's done it so far today. Nathan Morris still on, and with the ball coming in, front ball, Jamie Stevens snaffled it, well done, under a huge amount of pressure actually from the Rochford front jumper. Maul's been set, looks like Ben Cooper's not happy about it and wants to take the ball away. He has. Quick ball inside there to Will Whittington, trying to punch his way through. Now it's Aaron Morris's time to punch him well for a cracking effort by Aaron Cooper, sorry, not Morris. Looking for a quick ball inside. That's missed all of the back line. It's an interesting one there. I don't think that was a trick play. Harry Andrews has tidied up nicely. Ben Cooper just setting his forwards round where he wants them. Ball inside to Cameron Murray. Covered there by Elliot Lusher. Jamie Stevens wants the ball. Pop back inside to Al Evans. Coming now. Pump those big legs, mate. Looks like it's going to be held up. Held up, held up. Referee's called it back though for a penalty infringement earlier there, for infringement for offside, it looks like. Full penalty again. Frank Reynolds will be looking to try and get Canterbury as close as they can to the corner. Great nudge, great nudge. So, ball's coming in. Going to be the line out here will be around about maybe six metres away from the Rochford line. They want to have a really good quick ball, good maul set, and play. Rochford just making a change for their number 1, Joe Moran. Number 16, Lewis Brunga is coming on, and he's a very wide set chap. Widen the shoulders, that is. I'm not saying he's wide everywhere, just widen the shoulders. Canterbury have set themselves again now. Jamie's gone up. The maul's been set. Maul is at the back. Can they get the rumble on? Rochford have done well. They're coming in from they've kept their bind and just moved around to the side. Ball's being recycled further back. The maul is still there, just getting slightly closer towards the sticks here, middle of the park. Ball is still there. Ben Cooper's asking for the ball to be taken away. They're still rumbling on. Still rumbling on here. About a yard away. Just a counter shove here from Rochford. Ball's back in though. And a lovely burst there from Elliot Lusher from about 5 yards out. Cracking finish from Elliot. He must be very happy with that. Great stuff there from Canterbury. Taking in a lot of pressure there. No doubt the forwards coach is going to be exceedingly happy with himself for that one. There's nothing like scoring a rolling maul try. I mean, it worked so well at first, and then Rochford had the ability to actually fragment it and push it back. The balls then come back into play really quickly, and Elliot Lusher spotted a little gap from about 5 to 6 yards out, and he's just steamrolled it over into the corner. He'll be happy with that, and I think it's a fantastic response in the fact of how the game's been going. For the last 5 minutes, no one's taken it by the scruff of its neck, but fingers crossed, looks like Canterbury have. And that's been absolutely finished off with a phenomenal nudge from Frank Reynolds on the far left-hand side of the pitch. He snuck it in just next to the right hand upright. Very, very nice kick there from Frank Reynolds. So we find ourselves here at Canterbury 17, Rochford 0 at the present time. Kick off now again to Rochford. Restart. Gone deep. Big call again from Frank Reynolds for the ball. Looking for the exit. Good nudge. Oh, yes, good nudge halfway, and his foot was in touch. That's a Canterbury ball. Fantastic nudge there by Frank Reynolds. Really seems to be enjoying himself out there today. Looks like there's a few more changes coming on from Rochford. Rochford making a few more changes. Change at scrum half. I can't see who's coming in to play at scrum half. Okay, Canterbury line out halfway. Quick ball at front there, Jamie Stevens. Referee's calling it for a scrum. It's Rochford saying it wasn't straight. The energy's been really good, generally speaking, today from Canterbury in terms of just how the boys have gone about their business. Can't see much negativity there on the pitch. Certainly can't hear it at all. I think that sometimes it's just having the right mindset can make a big difference in terms of the wonderful sport that we have of rugby. You know, if you're in that positive mindset, good things can happen. And it certainly feels to be the case on the pitch right now. So Rochford put in at this scrum. Full penalty as well. Looks like Canterbury being penalised for pulling down at the scrum from the front row there. That's an easy out. That's what the coaches will be talking about, that phrase, easy out. It's an easy out when you give away a penalty at the scrum. Something like that. It's now just giving them the opportunity to bang the ball down another 15, 20 yards and start themselves there. I'm sure there'll be conversations during the week about that. Line out to Rochester. Shortened line out. Just the three in there. They've gone for a front ball. Harry Andrews looks like he landed down quite heavily at the front there. He's back up, hobbling, but he's getting himself back round. Looks like they brought in their big ball carrier again. Rochford, who came off in the first half. Nabogi then found a great inside line ball actually to Damien Brambley. And literally, as quick as a flash, he's found that line, hit it, and gone straight down in between the posts. All of a sudden, the momentum has changed. Conversion's good, and we now find ourselves at Canterbury 17 and Rochford 107.
And the Rochford try, number 13, Damien Bramley, noted by fullback Chris Desmond. And 17, Rochford 7.
Now obviously Canterbury don't now want to change that momentum back now the other way, so they want to have a really good restart here. A high hanging one, something which one of the more agile forwards can get their hands to. So a decent set there. They've done well there, rumbling the ball up around about 10-15 yards. Canterbury need to try and get themselves in here to stop that from happening. It's just simple, easy ball for them here. Al Evans with another big tackle there. Ball's being fired out now by their scrum half. They're trying to find the space in the midfield. Certainly are finding it. That's a phenomenal offload. Two great offloads actually from Rochester. Three. They've now literally gone all the way down the other end of the pitch. Are they going to finish it in the corner? He's backed himself, their fullback. The referee's called it. Within 2 minutes, the game has completely turned on its heels here. From Canterbury being 17-0 up, they could be looking at it now being 17-14. That is how quickly the game can change. Once your mind sits up, the positivity is shot up from Rochford, and they've literally just gone from the kick-off all the way down the other end of the field to score. I can hear in particular from the Rochford players there is, boys, get your heads up, get your granner up, come on, we've got this game in the bag now. They now feel that it's theirs to win, not Canterbury's to lose. The scorer Studman is now just setting himself up for the kick. Lovely strike, but just faded it right of the post, just in front of it. So we find ourselves, the score is actually now Canterbury 17, Rochford 112. Definitely ought to play here, playful here. Canterbury now need to pick it up. You can't now let them score a third unanswered try. They've got to get themselves back in this game. Do you go deep with the kick? I'm not too sure to start off with, because they seem to be happy to play from deep. Or do you now hang one up? They're only, just 10 yards up. Try and get one of our backs to actually challenge for this ball. It's an interesting restart coming up here. He's gone for the high-hanging close one. No forward has challenged for it. Jamie Stevens nearly got his hand on it there, but the number 4 for them, Ben Thomas, got himself in nicely there, dealt with it. Looking for the easy exit, it looks like. Dudman's gone deep with a crossfield kick, trying to catch Frank Reynolds out. The ball's bounced nicely for him. He has got space. I think he's going to use it. He's gone for the little chip over to apply pressure. He's made the tackle brilliantly. Well done. Fantastic double tackle there. Will Calder involved as well. Elliot Lusher with a big hit. Now they're attacking down the middle. Dudman's now beginning to get himself more and more into this game, I've noticed here. Ball's just been lost there. The breakdown. A little knock on. A little change. Perhaps this is the momentum swing that Canterbury need right now. What's referee called here? I think he was called it actually playing the ball on the deck here. So it's going to be a full penalty for Canterbury. It's within range. But Frank Reynolds is going for the kick instead. Come on, Frank. Decent yardage on this one, mate. Get it out. Good lad. So, great kick there from Frank Reynolds. Just now trying to apply a little bit more pressure on Rochford here. So you now got a throw in here, a line out to Canterbury, just inside the 22 of Rochford. Nathan Morris still on the pitch. He's done a bloody big shift so far today. Ball to Jamie Stevens in the middle. Set nicely to Al Evans. Rochford are really good at breaking this up. They have changed minds. The number 18's coming from the side. The referee's not seen it, which has caused a slight issue here. Ball is still there with Canterbury, still driving forward. I can see Nathan Evans, his hands on the ball. Ball has gone down. Rochford need to get away. They're going to be looking at a decent quick ball from Ben Cooper. Into Nathan Morris. Big hit there from their number 17, Kaylee Gray. Has almost a suicide pass ball there from Cooper to Will Evans. Their player's not even running away, the number 6. Referee should have been calling that one. Billy Young taking the ball up just a yard. Some hard stuff going on here. Cam Murray, tackle up round his neck there. Referee's not called it. Ball to Frank Reynolds. Frank Reynolds is going for it. He's found the space into Will Waddington. Inside of Ben Cooper. Can he finish it? Yes, he can! Ben Cooper underneath the post for Canterbury. That is how you respond to the pressure which Rochford have put them under. A fantastic try by Ben Cooper. All of a sudden, the momentum has changed again here at the Marine Travel Ground. Couple of great things there. One in particular, Frank Reynolds. We have at times, and I will say this, I think back when we did the pre-season games, we weren't particularly impressed with the way in which Frank Reynolds was kicking the ball, and he felt that perhaps we as commentators were being a little bit negative, but he has been absolutely phenomenal today, just by being that little bit further up on the gain line, standing a little bit flatter to when the ball's coming, is giving him so many more options. He's now just slotted over the conversion again here for Canterbury. He's not done anything wrong in my eyes today. We now find ourselves a score at Canterbury 24, Rochford 12. I'm just hearing from the sidelines from one of the players there, I think he said 7, so I'm assuming it means 7 minutes left of the game, and he's using the phrase control. Control, he's saying to the players. And that's exactly what Canterbury have shown. Generally speaking, for the majority of this game, they have shown a level of control, which has been missing at times there so far this season. Very interesting last 7 minutes coming up, because as we saw only like 5-6 minutes ago, how he can swing with 2 quick tries going from Rochford. Good, fairly decent restart. Brick Tyler has done it. Brick has done fantastically well there to take the ball up. Ball back into Jamie Stevens, and he's put in a heck of a shift as well, to be honest with you today, Jamie Stevens. Rochford just slowing the ball down at the breakdown, and now sucked in for a penalty. And because of that, Frank Reynolds has gone and played something which could have been mercurial, could have paid off, but it didn't on this in this respect. Full penalty to Canterbury, and as I said a moment ago, the other way round, that is an easy out. A really easy out from Rochford, which shouldn't have happened there. Ben Thomas, their number 4, has just got sucked in to trying to play something which wasn't there.
Mrs. Cordial, like to play it.
Frank Reynolds will be looking to get Canterbury back inside the Rochford half here with the clearance kick. Certainly has. Just inside. Canterbury put in at the line out. So the question now has got to be is, in this last 7 minutes, could Canterbury try and now push themselves to get that 4th try for the bonus point? Now the ball straight up into Jamie Stevens. He's been fantastic, generally speaking, today at the line out as well. I think from what I can remember, there's only been 2 lost line outs from Jamie. Lovely rolling maul here. Rolled up 6-7 yards so far. It's now 8. Full penalties coming from Rochford from coming in at the side. Ball's an absolute mess. Referee's calling it from the side. Full penalty. What you'll be looking at now again is Frank Reynolds trying to get the ball down, hopefully just over my head here near the hoardings where the scoreboard is here. Rochford just trying to take the sting out here. Player down, the number 4, Ben Thomas. What we would have used to call this, and I have not mentioned so far today when I used to be back at Esher, but I'm going to do it just now. But back at Esher, when we used to have this scenario, a player would go down, we used to call it a pudding. The reason being is not that he wanted a chocolate pudding, although to be honest with you, I'd probably take a chocolate pudding about now. But it was more of a case of just slowing the pressure down. So they would literally come down with some reason to have an injury, slow everything down, try and take the momentum and the wind out of the other team's sails. Looks what they've just tried to do here. Fingers crossed it will not here. Frank Reynolds will hopefully slot this one just over my head. He's got pretty close. He's got pretty close. So it's a Canterbury ball coming up here. Butterfingers. So Canterbury put in at the line out, just slowing it all down slightly here for Canterbury. It looks like we've got a full line out coming up. All in, time is on. Ball up in there to Jamie Stevens in the middle. Another great leap from him. As Lim has said last week, leaps like a salmon. Big shove here again from Canterbury. It's just been broken up a bit there at the back there. Going to be held on there for holding on. Rochford ball coming up. The Rochford players are calling something. I've just heard the phrase they're using here for whatever they're going to be playing off the back of this scrum. They're calling a turbo. So it's going to be interesting to see what that actually means. All set. Drop down. I think from what I can see there, from that particular scrum, which has just collapsed and the referee's going for a reset, it looked like to me that the loose head actually wasn't handling the weight coming in from the tie head. Now obviously he's not allowed to just drop to the ground, he's got to actually try and take the weight on and actually get the bind right. The bind's slightly better here, but he's dropped his shoulder again. It's got to go Canterbury's way. Full penalty on this one as well. Brilliant, absolute cracking stuff by Elliot Lusher there. Brilliant stuff from Elliot Lusher. He'd been called earlier and he'd been given the benefit of the doubt on that first scrum, the loose head. But the fact that he then dropped his bind again on the second gave the referee absolutely no choice but other than to give the penalty, a full penalty to Canterbury. Frank Reynolds has now started the ball straight over, so it's now a 5 metre line out. There's smiles on faces. Quick ball up to Jamie Stevens. The maul's been set here. It's a decent set so far. The rumble's on here. Tommy Best has come in as well to help get this shove on. Rumbling further and further forward here from Canterbury. And the ball's down. It's fantastic. That's your bonus point try for Canterbury. Brilliant stuff from the lads there from the right out. And Alex Evans has come up there with the ball and he's exceedingly proud of himself. That's the bonus point try today for Canterbury. Something that we've missed here for a little while now. A bonus point try at home. Brilliant stuff. Well done, boys. Tricky conversion to come. Frank Reynolds is going to. When you're a right-footed kicker, you want to make sure that your kick. Sorry about that, guys. We seem to have just had a slight issue with our sound here at the Marine Travel Ground. So I've just grabbed the other mic. Hopefully you can hear me on it. I can't tell for sure if that is the case. Otherwise, you're seeing me looking like I'm talking. But I've just been given the thumbs up here by the wonderful guys here at MMS 360 Media. So sorry about that. I just gone on a huge diatribe, which you probably don't want me to hear back, to be honest with you. Ultimately, just talking about the momentum of rugby. It's the fact of how the momentum swang viciously in those last 20 minutes of that game. It's the fact of that Canterbury had scored a try, very decent try from Elliot Lusher, and the response then back from the Rochford 100 was unreal in the fact that they then scored 2 tries within 3 minutes. You then automatically think that the momentum has completely swung and that Rochford would then continue to push and push and push and push. However, 3 minutes later, Ben Cooper comes out of nowhere and scores an absolute cracker underneath the sticks. 6 minutes later, the pressure's still applied, and you get a wonderful, wonderful rolling maul try over here near me in the corner here by Al Evans. Fantastic stuff. And then on top of that, you then got Frank Reynolds kicking the ball from blinking every angle all day today. Fantastic stuff. And I've just heard that he's been given man of the match, and that is well deserved. He had an absolute superb half of rugby. What we're going to try and do now is get Corker over here as quick as we can, our head coach. It'd be really nice to have a chat with him with a big smile on his face, because it's our first win now of the season at home. So it's now 3 wins for us. We've got obviously the 5 defeats. Big change. This is where we're now hopefully going to now kick on further, and that's what we're hoping for anyway. Other scores we're going to try and get through if we can before we go off air. I noticed that the Blackheath and Henley game was exceedingly close at 12-14 at half time. But I've got to say that it was a measured performance from Canterbury today. It was something which I would say that the coaching staff have been waiting for throughout the whole of this season so far. One where they can be proud of, one where you can hope that everything they've done at on the training paddock on the Tuesday nights and Thursday nights had paid off. But I've got to say, in particular, I did, as I said earlier, before the game finished, Frank Reynolds in particular for me really was different class today. And I can see from my vantage point over here that Corks is giving him a very happy chat and giving him a big a very nice little hug there, which I think is well deserved. Hopefully we're going to get Matt Corker over here as soon as we can, and we can dissect a little bit of the game and try and get his thought processes on it. And it'd be nice for us to actually not have that conversation with him where we're talking about having another big D set. The defensive line was fantastic for 40 minutes, but they eventually found a chink in the armour. So it's going to be nice to not actually have to have that conversation with him. It looks to be quite hard to try and get Corks over here. Everybody and anybody wanting to get a hug from him. I think that just shows you how much it actually really means to the whole playing group today. Because obviously at home we've fought so well against Dorking and end up losing by a couple of points. We had a fantastic first half against Tonbridge and let the game slip. Blackheath won again. We can tick that off, and there's some games you can say you were just second best throughout, and I think the Blackheath game was one of those. But today it was almost a completely different Canterbury team, and I think Corks will be extremely happy about that. Again, but knowing Corker already quite well, and the fact that he's a very humble chap, he certainly won't be saying it's all the coaches who's done this, and he'll say that it's all about the players and how they've responded from last week's defeat. So hopefully he'll be over here in a second. I can see one of the MMS 360 staff here just trying to pull him away from the players, because obviously he wants to talk to them whilst he's very jovial. But I think he will be coming over to us shortly. Corks is obviously now just trotting over. I mean, it's quite a long run for an ageing second row man. But here he is coming, just clearing his throat. So, mate, I've got a big smile on my face. You've got a big smile on your face. How do you feel, buddy?
Well, I was trying to look like the real professional, come across like emotionally neutral, but no, really pleased. And the people I'm most pleased for is it's just the lads. You get into a tough run of results going against you, and you can feel, I don't know, you can start feeling sorry for yourself, or there's lots of different places you can go, and the boys didn't do that. They've turned up every week looking to work. They've just been hammering away. And we talked about pounding the rock this week, and I feel like that's just a really good sort of example of that. The thing that I was most excited before you go, I think if you look at our game against Dorking, second half we came out and did the complete opposite. We were playing up the hill, looked controlled. So pleased for Frank Reynolds, just what a great game, and off the tee as well, just perfect off the tee. So really pleased for him. And yeah, I think we're sort of showing what we're capable of now.
Yeah, during the half, during the half-time team talks where you guys were going in there, I was kind of saying on the stream that there's going to be two different kind of conversations going on in there. One is going to be from you guys, which wouldn't be kind of berating them, saying, boys, you've left points out there. I was saying that it was going to be more of a conversation saying, look, you just need to get some control in the game now, because you've had control for the first 40. You know what's coming from them, because they're going to try and put the balls down in the corner and apply pressure, because they would have seen the game against Dorking, for example. But I felt that there was real kind of almost maturity, real proper game management out there today.
Absolutely, and it's been a big part of our development this season. And I think, I don't know, I suppose as a spectator you can think that players should have an understanding of that, but in the moment these split-second decisions are actually really difficult. And yeah, we looked like we really had control, and we sort of just talked then, and one of the lads said they felt relieved, and I said I don't think they need to feel relieved, because we've earned that in terms of our performance and the way that we controlled the game. So it wasn't like Rochford, up fair play to them, they scored 2 very good tries coming back, and I think when we look at them we'll know that there's a bit of a work for us to do in terms of some of our D. I think our fold's a bit slow, which is stressing us out wide, but yeah, I think the composure and that sort of game management piece, like you said, it's the maturity that we need, because it is a young group, and that's where we're looking to push forward.
Yeah, for me, you mentioned just there briefly about the Rochford, the 2 tries in quick succession. I mean, it was literally we were going from 17-0 up to 17-12 within 4 minutes was a concern. And for me, I was thinking, oh, crikey, the momentum's changed. But what I noticed in particular, and it happened a few times during the game, you mentioned Frank Reynolds earlier. I just noticed something completely different from him today. He almost seemed to, for me, I don't know whether or not this is exactly true, but he felt like he was maybe 2 yards further up towards the actual gain line, so he was getting a lot flatter. And I felt that was then giving him the opportunity to play something different, something which wasn't then kind of, as you guys obviously go through your phases and your work, he had the opportunity, I might go there, I might do the chip. He had a fantastic game. He
was, and we've talked a bit, like Veely does great work with the backs, and we've talked to Frank about being a running threat, because he's a fantastic runner. He's really actually has great speed, and you see that when he comes from the back at fifth, when he's in the backfield. But we basically this week was encouraging him. It's a great spot to be more of a running threat, because that's actually what scares defences, puts them on their heels, and whether that creates holes around him or further out wide, that's something that we've been looking to do, and he's totally got that in his game, and it's something we're trying to exploit for him.
Finally, for me, just another person I want to just pick up, and I thought had a fantastic second half in particular, is Elliot Lusher. Down here, I mean, very different, because obviously you're up where we used to be, up in the crow's nest. But down here, just in particular, just before Al Evans' try,
it was a really big scrum, wasn't it?
It was a fantastic scrum, and what he did was so good is the way in which he actually suckered in their loose head. So the loose head's bind wasn't great anyway, but all he did was he just changed his body shape very slightly, which made him lose his bind, and obviously we then get the penalty from it. But then, so happy for him also, down there, an absolute steamroller run from 6 yards out.
We're very lucky actually at this club to have some really talented young front row, and they really define some of our performances. And having Elliot in the group's been brilliant. He's been around the team a long time, and this year he just seems to be going from strength to strength. And to his credit as well, we've had a couple of decisions potentially that we would feel that had gone against us in these sort of moments, and that for me, I said to him after, that's a really big moment for us to come out on one, to sort of come out on the right side of it, and what we're able to do from that. It's just game changing. So yeah, really pleased for him as well, and yeah, the front row generally, they're just going from strength to strength.
Well, mate, enjoy yourself this evening. I know you're not a man who kind of will sulk for too long anyway, and I know you've always got a smiley face, but it's really lovely to see a completely different, almost there's just positivity out throughout the field there today, and I even felt it before we even started today, so a big well done, buddy.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much.
Take care. So that was Matt Cork there, having another little chat with us there on our live stream. All I'm going to say is, before we sign off, is just mention on those players there. Frank Reynolds, a fantastic game today. Elliot Lusher did so well in the second half. And just generally speaking, as a coaching group and as a player group, the positivity today out there on the field was immense. When you have that mindset in place, there's almost a level of case of there's almost nothing you can and cannot do. So with that mindset, that positivity, I'm going to go into the rest of my day, the rest of my weekend, enjoying every little bit of it with a smile on my face. And I will say to every one of you, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time back here at the Marine Travel Ground. Have a great one. Take care and bye-bye.